Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I got a request a few days ago on making a video on my developer setup, and here's that. So I'll just dive right into it and not waste any of your time. So to start off with, I just want to make you to make a note that I actually posted a blog article in 2022, early 2022, about my developer setup, and not much has changed since that. So if you want a written version of this, you can go and look at this as well. I will post a link of this in the description, but I'll just walk through all of it in a little more detail today. So to start off with, I just wanted to go over my workflow of what I do when I open, say, a um, new project, for example. So I have a command mapped as C to my code base, which goes inside slash dev slash code, the home slash dev slash code, and I have all my repositories over here, but I have a separate folder over here just in case for my work projects. This is my club which I was part of till last year in my school, so I don't use this as much anymore, but if I ever need that, I use that as well. Ignore all the other things. But over here I usually go over here and make all my repositories over here. Um, and when I want to open a new project, what I do is I open it inside a Tmux session. So if you don't know what Tmux is terminal multiplexer, if I'm not wrong, is the full form. Yep. So what it does is it allows you to have multiple terminal sessions open, and it will keep running in the background till you actually close it. So I can have, so if I just go Tmux ls over here, I have one project running over here and one my dot files running as a tmux session. So what happens is if I say open um, a new tmux session over here, I'll just go over what this is in a second. But if I say open my website over here, and I have done this, right, I go back to my dot file session, and this is running something in the background. Say I can have multiple panes as well. This is one pane, this is zero bash is one pane, one fish is one pane. I can sorry, these are called windows. So this is one window, this is the other window. I can have multiple panes inside this by one command I have set up. I don't want to go over my bindings too much, but one second, let me try something. Okay, so I set up keycaster, so you will be able to see my keys here. But basically, what happens is if I do control X and then the bar key, so that opens a horizontal split window, and control X and then this one, that opens a vertical split. So these are key bindings which I've set for myself. Obviously, if you're using Tmux, you can go and configure them inside your Tmux config. I'll talk about that in a second. But what I was talking about is Tmux. So I can have multiple Tmux session, and if I do control X shift L, that goes to my previous session. So I can just go over these two, and these are already running something. So I can have multiple projects open and they will keep running in the background. I don't have to restart all the projects again and again. So I have this dot files running over here and this. Okay, so I can also go control X W and have all these windows open over here. This one, this one, this one. So yeah, that's how that works. But if you looked at the starting, I was doing something like this, right? This is basically control A, which is mapped to a Tmux sessionizer script, which is created by Primogen. You can check out his YouTube channel. He has amazing videos on Neovim. But basically, if I do control A, so let me just show you my dot file. So if I look at my fish config over here, the remap, not this one, mappings.fish, it is mapping control A to tmux sessionizer over here. So what this script basically does is, I have basically what it does is it finds all the directories inside code, devxin, my home, the Laravel projects I had set up differently just to have Valley working with it, and a few commands over here for minimum depth, maximum depth, and type is directory, and sed is for I forgot why I use this command, but I think it's for replacing something with, I think it's replacing, so that's 1/ and 2/. I think it's replacing 2/ with 1/ for some reason. And it's just running, piping it to FZF and a few configuration commands over here. That's fine. Uh, for This is for preview, etc. I just don't want to go into this into detail too much, but what this is doing is, if I do that, it will take all my directories and show it inside a fuzzy finder. I have FZF installed, obviously, and it is running all this over here. Just some code. This is all copy pasted. I don't take any credit for it except the fact that I have used my own directories over here. You can find it in my .files, or go to the Primogen's GitHub and find this inside his .files as well. So basically, I have this tmux sessionizer script mapped to my fish config and my not tmux, the Neovim config. This is my Neovim config. I have it inside over here, Control A. So in my normal mode, I can go Control A and it shows this over here. The terms might sound a little vague to you if I've never used Neovim. Just bear with me, I'll go over that in a second. But basically what this does is, if I go Control A, it shows all my directories, and if I select something, it's not showing something specifically, but say I want to go to Stripe, the video I made, the Stripe next YT. Yeah, Stripe subscriptions YT. See, I opened that. I didn't have a tmux session open on this already, so it created a new tmux session for me. So if I do tmux ls now, you will see the dot files Rashid and Strike, because I exited the one of the tmux sessions which I had already created. Now what this does is, again, Control X Shift L will go back to this. So I keep switching between my tmux sessions like that. I have 3 tmux sessions open, and I can obviously have multiple this over here. What I do is I go Control X C, open a new window. That is my custom key binding again, and I run my commands. Say I have a front end and a back end separate, so I can have one window for front end, one window for back end, and one window for my terminal tasks. So I can go inside this, I can have pnpm dev inside one. I can open a new pane. I can go pnpm studio, Prisma Studio over here, running, and say I have the webhooks. So I can go Control X1, Control X this. So I can go something like pnpm Stripe listen if I have something like that. So I can have multiple of these processes running over here inside multiple tmux panes. So I can just keep this separate. It's running in the background. Don't need to do anything to that. I just restart the server if I want sometimes. And over here, whenever I'm editing, if I have an immediate thought that I want to install something, I just open a window, a pane, a tmux pane, and then go pnpm add something, for example, and then close it and then exit. So I go back to just working with my code base. So that was the first one, how my workflow works. This is what I do. I just keep opening tmux sessions over tmux sessions. I don't even bother to close them at one point. It's just running somewhere. And if I have too many tmux sessions open at one point, and I don't want any of them, I just go tmux kill server, and it closes all of them. So that is how I work with Tmux basically. Second is code editor. So you guys might, if you've seen my channel before, you guys might know that I use Neovim for my editing. So basically what I do is, say I have this open over here, I'll go B, which is mapped to Neovim for me, but if you're new, you'll just go in nvim and then go say src. If I go tab, I'll talk about my terminal in a second as well, but I go app. If I hit tab, say I want to go to page.tsx, so it will open it inside a Neovim editor. Now, if you guys don't know what Neovim is, it is a fork of Vim. Now, Vim is an editor which is built into most OSs nowadays. So if I go Vim, it is just another keyboard-based editing system, if you may. And Neovim, it was made as a fork for it. It is just better in a lot of ways, but people sometimes use Vim as well. Now, let me just open my blog article and show you. This is all over here as well. I was talking about Neovim here as well. So basically, this is not what Neovim will look like if you're opening it for the first time. You won't have the syntax highlighting. You won't have all these, autocompletes, which are coming over here. Say I have const hello, hello, and if I'm using this, say I do hello, you won't get these autocompletes over here. All this is custom setup. Uh, so the thing with this is you can have native LSPs inside Neovim. LSPs are language server protocols. You can the thing with Neovim is you have to install them yourself. If you're using something like VS Code, just install an extension if the LSP already doesn't exist built into it, and you're up and running. The problem with Neovim is you have to do that. Say inside my dot files, let me close all these over here. Sorry. And then if I go back over, let me just, I will talk about the things in a second, but see all these plugins which I have installed over here, CMP, Lua-snip, lsp-config is by Neovim, or Mason, all these have to be configured first to get Neovim working with LSPs. It has, the process has improved a lot. It's much simpler now with Mason. null-ls is actually archived now, but working with this has become much more streamlined. And if you are new to Neovim, you can go to things like, say, which one was that? One second. Neovim starters. There was one with the moon thing. One second. Let me just. New chart, is it? nvchart. Yeah, nvchart is one you can go to and see that. There's also lunarvim, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, lunarvim. These are starters which already exist. You don't need to do anything for them. They have defaults. You just need to install them and get them up and running, and you will be started in no time. But I have faced issues with them where it becomes a little laggy, so I ended up going back to writing my own config. So that is one disadvantage to using Neovim. You need to spend time to, customize it to your own liking. But there are a few advantages that's why I'm using it, obviously. One, the speed. The startup time is much, much, much faster than most of the editors you get out there. And I don't have I have an 8 GB RAM, but it still tends to get slowed down a little bit if I'm using VS Code. I won't say it is less RAM, but VS Code does mess it up sometime. The second is lagging. Again, VS Code, I have a lot of lagging issues with. If I'm using that, I don't know what happens to it. It's working fine most of the times, but it sometimes starts lagging. Third, developer speed. If you've seen my videos, you will see that using say Neovim, my speed is much faster because I am stuck to using just my keyboard, and I don't move my hand here and there to work with my mouse or go back to my trackpad. Okay, I just paused the recording. I thought the video was lagging, so I hope it's clear now. But basically, I was talking about the fact that developer speed, it is much faster because I'm stuck to using my keyboard, and I don't have to move between my hand between my mouse and my keyboard. And I'm a huge keyboard only fan. But again, the disadvantage is, first you will have to learn Vim, and honestly, the learning curve is much higher. The problem is you need to, again, I have mouse enabled over here, but you need to learn about, say, the insert mode. See over here, I'm inside insert mode. I can write anything over here. If I hit escape, it goes into normal mode. I can do DD to clear a line. I can go shift D to clear everything after that. Movements with W, shift W, curly braces. All these are things which you need to spend a little bit of time to learn them. There's an amazing terminal command itself for this called Vim Tutor, and it takes you through all these things over here which you can go through over here and try to learn it if you want. That being said, I do not recommend Neovim to anyone who's just starting out with coding. I just say use VS Code, install the extensions, install the plugins, get started with learning the stuff first. There is no point in using Neovim at that point because you need to spend more time in the relevant parts. So keep that in mind if you're looking at my developer workflow and if it looks good. Just don't jump right into using Neovim. Weigh the advantages and the disadvantages and then go into it. All right. That being said, also I do use VS Code when I'm doing real-time collaboration. I use a plugin called LiveShare extension, if I'm not wrong. VS Code. Yeah, I use this. Oh, this is by Microsoft. I don't know that. Okay. So I use this over there and then live share it with other people and we can collaborate on a project in real time together. I use it when I'm doing hackathons, online hackathons, etc. and it works great. Second, I have Vim extension installed in my VS Code as well. And again, like I said, I recommend it for all the beginners out there. So let me get a little bit into my Neovim setup. Hopefully that gives you an idea of how much effort you will have to put in. For the extensions, I use something called Packer. Now Packer is a plugin manager inside Neovim. People nowadays use lazy.nvim, if I'm not wrong, and I got blasted on my Reddit that I was saying Packer and people use what did I say? Lazy.nvim now. Okay. Actually, let me just show this. I have a post on this as well, my new Vim setup. So if you want to look at the essential plugins, you can go through this as well. Okay, so if you just want to get an idea of what all plugins essentially I use, you can go through this. And I had posted this on my Reddit, and what happened was people were again blasting me for saying Packer when I didn't even mention lazy. But the thing is, I had set this config up like an year or so back, and honestly, it just works for me. I don't want to touch it and spend time migrating to lazy.nvim. There was a time when I spent a lot of time in reviewing my configuration, and honestly, I was just a lot freer then. I don't regret doing it. I learned Lua, I learned all these things, and now I need to spend more time in doing actual projects, actual web dev work. So I don't touch it. I just let it stay as it is working and just update the plugins now and then if it is needed. All right. So Packer is what I use for that. You can use lazy.nvim if you're starting off. It's an amazing plugin. Even the founder of Packer now uses lazy. So if that gives you an idea of on how that is. Second, Telescope. If you I don't think people who have not used Neovim would have come across Telescope, but it's an amazing plugin. It helps you with fuzzy finding files, words inside your file which is open right now, and all these amazing things. I have this config over here. So I have these set up over here. This is mainly what I use it for is file finding. I go leader, which is my space pf. That took way too long to go from that, but if I do that together, I go to this. I have all my files inside the current directory which I'm on showing up over here. I can just fuzzy find something if I want Neovim or say nvim and all those things, and it will just show up. It is amazing, and you know what? The speed is amazing as well. For a fuzzy finder, it takes very less time. It's something like leader pf is something like what you would have control P or command P inside VS Code. Again, this is my custom key binding. You can use whatever you want. I have control P for git files. I don't use that much. I do use this I took from somewhere. I don't remember, probably Primogen's config, but I go leader ps and say I want to search for a particular word. I go leader and it fuzzy finds that. For some reason it's not working, but it does work most of the times, and this fuzzy finds inside all the files inside my current directory. Oh yeah, this hidden, okay, no idea why it's not working, but it works inside the proper project. Sometimes it doesn't work properly with dot files. For me, there's a particular configuration which I need to set. Hidden true does most of it, but there's again, these are the things which I was talking about. The configurations here and there need to be edited now and then, but in the long term, it is worth it for me. Then I'm using tree setter, which is by new. I'm not sure if it's by Neovim, but it helps me get syntax highlighting, and it is an amazing plugin to work with for the trees. I don't know if that makes sense, but if I go ts playground, was it? Yeah, playground toggle. This is called, I forgot what it's called, but it's some tree. Okay, let's not get into that, but I might have mentioned this over here. See, abstract syntax tree, AST, yes. So it helps you get an idea of what the AST is inside over here, and if you want to create plugins, it's an amazing thing to have. But this is the main thing which I'm using, and this is used by a lot of plugins to get a lot of things working inside my configuration. It's something which works behind the hood. I don't have to touch it again. Okay, that's done. I'll go much faster now because I'm wasting too much time on my Neovim config, I feel. So, again, I have lsp-config, which is by Neovim, which helps me set up my LSP. So if I go lsp.lua, I have these key binding setup GD for go to definition, go to declaration, K is for the um, hover, whatever, GI for implementation and all these things. I mostly just stick to using these. I don't even remember having these most of the times. Rename is something I use, code action also, but other ones I don't use as much. And I have, okay, I should probably stop keycasting. So I have all these config set up, HTML, TS server for JavaScript, CSS, Tailwind, Emmet, Astro, all these things set up over here. Whenever I want to use them, this is for some particular plugin which I'm using, that's fine. Then I have nvim set up, nvim-cmp, oh my god, nvim-cmp. Oh, let's go cmp.lua. Yeah, this helps with my auto completion over here. This pane over here, all these things are set up by nvim-cmp. I can have multiple plugins over here, lsp, buffer, it can come from buffer, the path, all these things. That is done. Second, then null-ls. Null-ls helps me get the setup with a lot of these ESLint, prettier, all these things over here. It is an amazing plugin, but unfortunately, it's getting archived right now. Hopefully, a good enough fork of it will come out soon. Then I have Lua snip for my snippets, custom snippets if I want something. Then I have nvim-tree, which is this tree which you can see over here. Amazing plugin, I love it. I can go A to create a file, I can go R to rename the file, etc, etc. I can go D to delete the file, etc. That's that. This buffer, this thing over here is Lua line, which you can see. Let me just get this to the top. Oh my god, this thing over here, basically this is Lua line. I get a lot of file names, the git branch I'm on, all these things. I did that again, that. So, and the top part over here is buffer line. It's the plugin I'm using for the tabs and all those. Okay, that is it for the Neovim setup. Next is Fish. Fish is the terminal I'm using. If you're using Mac, by default it uses Z shell, which people pronounce as Zish as well. But that is an alternative to Bash. It is considered. It has a lot of features which Bash has, and it is an amazing shell. But it takes a little bit of time to customize if you want to. And honestly, I didn't want to do that. So I use Fish Shell. Fish Shell is a little unconventional. It doesn't use Bash scripting. It has its own scripting language, which it considers to be a sane language, if that makes any sense. And let's just go to this. You can go through the docs. It has amazing docs, but it has a few things out of the box which I love. One is auto suggestions. You don't need to set up anything. It just shows this up just like Copilot or something from you based on your previous history, which is amazing. You can have colors, themes, all these things set up, and you can have man pages as well. So say I have ls go this I can just take a look at all those. I also have completions for particular commands. So I can go p and pm. I apparently not. I had something for this. Let me just look at my dot files. Let me go functions. Yeah. So if I go git, all right. So see the completions. Now Git by default also get me the completions for all this, ls for add, etc. Now I have the setup function Git, so I can go bg and I have the completions for that as well, which is amazing. I don't need to get out of my terminal. I can just auto complete and see most of the things which I want over here. So Fish is amazing. I highly recommend it for beginners as well, because you don't need to set up a lot of things, but I do suggest still knowing how bash scripting works, because it is amazing for automating a lot of things. You can find more about that in Primogen's channel. I used to look at his channel a lot for all these automations and all those things. It is amazing some scripts which he has over there. So that is it for my terminal. Now, code editor is done, workflow is done. If you want a look at how I work with my videos, so what I do for that is I have my laptop over here. So let me just get this over here. Let me show you guys this. Hopefully it doesn't lag too much, but I have my laptop over here, which is MacBook Air 2020 version of M1. It works amazing for me. It has 8 GB RAM and 256 GB for my SSD. Let me just go back over here, and I have 21 or a 23-inch monitor. I'm not sure which one because I don't remember properly, but that's the monitor I have, and I have a Portronics adapter over here, which takes my 1 second, let me just, yeah, so that connects my HDMI adapter to my monitor, which is great. And I have just this lamp here for this video, but this is my table basically, and this is my laptop, which needs a little bit of cleaning, and this is my monitor. This is how I work on a daily basis. I have this connected, and sometimes I just sit on my sofa if I feel like it, or bed. Bad for your back, but sure. So this is what I have for my laptop and my hardware as well. So, and last thing, I have this new headphone which I bought from Sony. I forgot the model, which was this one, WHCH 520. It has amazing battery life, which is great. I was using it at 100% for like I don't know how long, but I have used it only for a week, so the battery life might be good for that. The sound quality is also pretty good for the price range, and yeah, that's probably it for my hardware setup and my developer setup. So that's it for this video. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. For more context, I make more videos on web development using Next.js, TypeScript, cloak authentication, Nextauth authentication. I have videos on Stripe and all those things. If that interests you, please like, share, and subscribe, and keep watching. That's it for this video. Goodbye.